It's time for
It's Fanboy Weekly for all you geeks, nerds, and blurs. Let's get our geek on.
Welcome back. It is Fanboy Weekly from the 5x5, and I'm your host, David. And you know, guys, I was ready. I was ready up until this point, and then I tried to do some social media stuff and got distracted. And so, after the intro music came on, I wasn't on, so I apologize. It was only like a half a second, so I know you guys can understand. Somebody's texted me, but how you guys doing? It has actually been a pretty smooth fanboy week. No events. Free comic book day is over. No comic conventions. But so it's been easy. It's been simple. It's been nice. Although my comic book my comic book budget is still going through the roof. I need to stop. I just need to stop, but I can't. I can't stop myself. It has been way um, it's been way too much, because New Comic Book Day um, is Wednesday, and so I picked some things. Actually, it wasn't that much stuff that I picked up at the comic book store this week. There is a new line. If you listen to my new show on Blog Talk Radio, Blog Talk Radio / comic book, COMICBOOKED, you can hear it's more comic book specific. The Fanboy Weekly show, if you haven't listened to the show, we talk about everything that's in my fanboy life, whether it's a television show, comic books, movies, pop culture, stuff like that. That's what we talk about on Sunday nights. And so I briefly go over the comic books that I picked up this week. But as to the budget, out of control. Out of control. And comic books aren't cheap. They aren't cheap. And here lately, if you follow me on Instagram at one funny guy, the number one funny guy, you'll see that I've been creating because I want to sell this stuff. I think it's kind of neat, and it's a way to clean up um, my old comic book collection, that things that I'm not reading, things um, that's not worth anything. Things are not going to grow in value because they're damaged in some way, or I haven't taken care of it the way I should. So I use those instead of them sitting in a box, not doing anything. Nobody's reading them. I've been converting each book into I think it's maybe an 8x10 art story. I guess you could say I did one for Batman 605. I just did one for X-Men 105. And I cut it up because the book was, not in good condition. So I cut it up and I put it on a 8x10 piece of canvas that I've Mod Podged to death. And then I put pieces of the book around to frame it, and then I put the cover page, or a copy of the cover page, up in the center, so you get a piece of the story. You can read some of the bubbles and word bubbles, and then you can see what the story is about. So they turned out really, really good. I'm like, I'm really getting good at this, and I even had the nerve to sign it. So, so I am doing too much, but that's a way for me to free up some extra time, and not free up to I wouldn't say free up some extra time, to take up some extra time and do that. It is fun. My niece and I've gotten her into it, so she's starting to do it. And I'm just finding all these little fun things to keep myself busy, especially at nighttime when I come home and I'm not doing a live podcast or I'm not doing a show or anything. And I'm watching TV. This is a good way to um, take up my time and spend the time while I'm winding down. And it is relaxing. Last night when I was doing the X-Men one, I I laid down. I'm like, I'm not doing nothing. I'm going to bed. And then I started to watch the Avengers, and it wasn't making me go to sleep because I was too into the show. And I said, well, let me do this for a little bit while I'm up. And so that's what I did. I started doing it, and it kind of made me tired. And the rest is history because I got it finished, and now I have two. And everything. The thing is a very, very inexpensive way to create art, and also to make something that somebody else may like. There's a lot of little art shows they have here, and that's something I want to participate in the future because this is all going toward the comic book store fund. And not for buying comic books, to open my own store eventually in the next 12 to 16 months, but that's in the future, not happening now. So like I said, I hope you guys are doing good. The books I did pick up this week, I did finish. I started a book, the trades on Saga and Chew. I have a lot more Chews to the comic book Chews to pick up trade book wise, but I'm only one behind in Saga, and I finished those. The first two, Volume 1, Volume 2, to yesterday, and then I have Volume 3, and now then I can start buying the new issues, which, because of one of my comic book stores here locally, they have all the they have a lot of recent issues going back to like 20, I think. But I was lucky to get a Chew 21, which started off the Major League Chew storyline in that comic book, and that's a comic book done by John Layman and Rob Guillory. If you guys haven't read that, or you don't know what it's about, pick it up. It's hilarious, and at the same time, it's kind of gross. At the same time, it's very entertaining. Just the way the writers and the artists did the story. It's about a telepath who has um, who has an ability that he can get his telepathic visions through eating stuff, even if it's eating a person or a decomposed finger or a dog, anything. So that's kind of a twist on telepathy, and the whole series is filled with this person is obviously a lover of food. Who the two people who have done this book, and it's from Image Comics. The whole book is filled with people who have food abilities, some type of telepathic or food ability that centers around food consumption. And the big scandal starting out now in the book is the big bird flu, and chicken has been it's like the chicken prohibition, and people are buying chicken on the black market because they don't want the fake chicken that's showing up in some of the restaurants now. But you have to read the book. It's really, really good, and it's called Chew. And then Saga, it's not for children, and Chew is really not for children either. Saga, Fiona Staples. I was floored by this book. I'd heard a lot about this a long time ago. No, well, about a year ago, and I'm like, I'm not picking that up. It doesn't look interesting. But I start hearing a lot about it. So I had the opportunity. If you remember, a few weeks ago, I won a $50 Amazon gift card, and I used it to buy comic book stuff. Go figure. Should have bought some shoes, right? And and so I started the series and was completely floored. It's won awards, as have Chew has won the Eisner Awards. Best Continuing Series. Saga has won the Hugo Award and Eisner Award, and also I believe it's won a GLAAD Media Award as well, because there's some images in there that are pretty provocative, and there's sex with aliens and lying cats, and to me, the way the story is about interracial relationships, or it could be about gay relationships, it can be about anything, and then the way they tell the story about the fight, the struggle, because no matter what the setting is, sometimes the struggle, like the X-Men, the struggle is the same. So That's why I like that story, and it's really, really good. But anyhow, so I got Shoe 21, and I got The Walking Dead 127, and this would be the second time that I've purchased a Walking Dead comic book. I'm not a Walking Dead comic book reader. I love the show. I do have the 10th anniversary edition signed by Tony Moore, who was the creator of The Walking Dead. But I never bought the book. But so this is a new beginning right after their All Out War story arc. I didn't read it, but I thought this would be a perfect jumping on point. So I will be picking it up from here on out. And then also got Afterlife with Archie. You know, I've talked a lot about that book. Really, really good. And this issue was about the gang escaping all the zombies in Riverdale. And you got both. I always buy both copies, the standard newsstand copy and then the variant, the Andrew Pepboy variant, which is very, very good. Futures End is a weekly series by DC, placed in the not too distant future, in the DCU. Good story, and this actually this particular issue number 2, it showcased the death of a Justice League member, which was Green Arrow, and you can see how that turns out. And then the story that I've been really addicted to in DC, and this week I didn't buy any new Marvel stuff, it was all DC. And then the Image, and then the Afterlife of Archie. But Superman Wonder Woman comic that I started, and I'm up to date on all the issues to its current one. It's a story where Superman is turning to Doomsday. You know, back in the 90s, where Superman was killed by I would say villain, by a monster in the DC universe called Doomsday. They are reintroducing Doomsday, where Superman actually kills him, and it's a story arc that takes place in 4 books, I believe. Superman Wonder Woman number 8, Superman Doomed number 1, and Superman Action Comics number 31. So check those out. Because it's good stuff. So we're going to take a really quick break. I'm going to talk a little bit more about my comic book budget. I'm also going to talk about the season finales of Arrow and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And did you guys know that it's the Rubik's Cube 40th anniversary? So we have some fun facts and some history about the Rubik's Cube, and also get some interesting news from Indy PopCon that I will be attending at least one day this year. Thank you guys for listening. It is the 5x5 Fanboy Weekly. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Charlie. I fight fires and I save lives.
My name's Renee. I'm a cardiologist. I save lives.
My name's Anthony. I'm an EMT. I save lives.
You don't have to be a professional to save a life. Firefighters, doctors, and others save lives. You can too. Don't wait. To learn more about the warning signs and how you can help prevent suicide, visit save.org. In a crisis, call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK.
And welcome back. It is the 5x5 Fanboy Weekly. I'm your host, David. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for tuning in to listen to me nerd out for about an hour each Sunday night here on Spreaker.com. Don't forget to check out our other shows here on Spreaker and iHeartRadio. Real Talk with David and Nikki, the 5x5 Late Night Show, and sometimes the on and sometimes off the drive. You can always send me a tweet at the 5x5 on Twitter, and that 5's are numeric, as in the blog, the 5x5.blogspot.com or the blurredhq.blogspot.com, and you can find us on Twitter under those names as well. Welcome back. If you haven't listened to the show before, every Sunday night I sit back and I discuss pop culture, comic books, nerdiness, geekiness, blurredisms, and stuff of that nature. So I hope you guys enjoy. You can always join us in the chat room and talk to me, and I like to be interactive in the chat room while we're kind of going through what we're going through for the night. So when we left off before we went to break, I was talking about my comic book budget, tell you what I picked up, and that was like the first part. Then I think, was it Tuesday, not Wednesday, Thursday, we've been having crazy rainstorms here, and so I went out, and I was working, and I had a client I had a client to take care of, but we went to the comic book store. Like I told you a couple weeks ago, there's a comic book store here in town that is going out of business, and so I've been trying to patronize him because he's a great, great guy. If you're in the Southern Indiana area, you can always check out Comics Unlimited. And he's on Facebook, and his name is Matt Hall. He's going to be selling things on eBay and conventions going forward. But he's a really, really nice guy, super nice guy. And so I've been going out there because because I didn't go out there a lot before. I would go like doing free comic book day and things like that and buy stuff. But he good stuff. But he's in the wrong part of town for me. So I make a special trip to go out there, even in a rainstorm. So I've been out there like three times since last Saturday. I went. Saturday was the day before Mother's Day. And then I went Thursday. Then I went yesterday, which was Saturday. And I've been getting like anywhere from 20 to 30 books each time I go. That's right. It's insane. I'm running out of room. But he's having a great deal. He has a ton of dollar comic books, ranging from ages, from the 70s all the way up to present day. And then he has mid-price books that even go back even further, which I think before, maybe he'll do a 75% sale because right now everything's 50% off. Then he has quarter books that are 50% off, like they're 12 cents, right? So I've been going out there, and I've been trying to finish up story arcs that either I've had in the past or that I wanted to read and I never had the opportunity to, or I've lost or damaged or whatever. Or, like I said, if you go to One Funny Guy on Instagram to go to use to create as my artwork, things that I'm not spending a lot of money on, 50 cents, a 50-cent investment to make something that I can sell for possibly 15, 20 bucks. It's it's worth it, right? And so anyhow, I've been getting all these comic books. So I've and I didn't realize that I had done this until I just happened to start looking a second ago, and I'm like, okay, the madness needs to stop. And I'm gonna count them. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and then that was on Thursday, and so you guys would know that I did that on, because that was Saturday. Okay. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 books in the span of since Wednesday. But it's stuff, that I'm interested in. I finally, I have issue of the Astonishing X-Men, and I'm gonna go buy the rest of them this week. Of the Astonishing X-Men number 51, which is the wedding of North Star, and I forget his boyfriend's name. I think it's the first gay marriage in a comic book. Was the Astonishing X-Men that came out in 2012. So I finally had that issue of it, but I got that somewhere else though. So I had the proposal and the wedding 50 and 51. Not so long ago I got the GLAAD Media Award winning Batwoman number 17, where Batwoman proposes to her girlfriend. We talked about that a while back. And where the writers who wanted to include the nuptials in the book, they weren't allowed to. DC didn't want to go that route with their comic, and so they walked off the scene. They're like, okay, you're not going to allow something to recreate it, which is relevant. It's relevant that we're not doing it. I'm surprised they didn't get a lot of backlash from that from the gay comic book community, because we're pretty strong. I've met a lot of gay and lesbian comic book readers, fans, fangirls, fanboys, and we have buying power, but I don't think anything really happened. But so I get all that stuff, and I was talking to somebody online earlier about, they asked me what was if you're listening, I'm talking about you. they asked me what was my favorite Saturday morning cartoon, and I would have to say Super Friends. I started out as a DC person. I did, ended up being a Marvel person, um, but yes, Spider-Man and his amazing friend. Yeah, no, Superman, Super Friends, and then later on became Spider-Man and his amazing friends. And that's what I was telling him. It's on Netflix right now, so I watch it because it has some nostalgia. It's kind of corny, but there were some good episodes. You get kind of a origin story of both Firestar and Iceman. Both of from the X-Men, and X-Men Days of Future Past will be out this Friday. Woohoo! It will be out this Friday. I cannot wait. I'm probably not going to see it till Sunday. I took the day off because it's my nephew's birthday, so I'll be going probably Sunday night to see X-Men Days of Future Past. So I expect big things. I went to Hardee's today, and this is how crazy I am. I'm probably going to use it though. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to Mod Podge it to death. The fries you get from Hardee's now, because Hardee's has the I guess the rights to what's it called when you have the rights to I can't think of it right now, but anyhow, Hardee's has the rights to the X-Men Days of Future Past movie. Like McDonald's might get something else. I don't know who has Godzilla. And speaking of Godzilla, maybe I'm not clicking, but I don't want to see it. I have no desire to see Godzilla, although Pacific Rim surprised me. But I waited for it to come on Xbox. I waited for it to get to the red box before I seen it, and I've watched it twice because I think it's now on HBO Go or something right now. I've seen it a second time, but Godzilla, I have absolutely no desire to see that. None, none whatsoever. So I'm like, yeah, no, I'm probably not gonna do that one. But I've been seeing a lot of fanboys and fangirls talking about going to see this movie. I guess it's kind of iconic. We've had a ton of, well, not a ton, we've had several King Kong movies, the big remake, the Mighty Joe Young movie. And I loved King Kong as a kid. Remember they used to have the Chinese or Japanese made ones. That was kind of those B movie flicks. We had those when I was a kid back in the 70s, and they were entertaining to watch because I was a kid. But now my adult tastes have changed, and so I have no desire to see it. I hope it does well. They're really pushing it because it's everywhere. But it's good that it came out this week. It picked the perfect week because Spider-Man was last weekend, so this weekend they release, and the next weekend once X-Men comes out, it'll be forgotten. So I hope it made its money this weekend, because they should have postponed the release date on that, because as a whole I don't think people are going to see it, but maybe they are, because I've been seeing a lot of people tweeting about it, so who knows. But speaking of old comic book things and old fanboy TV, I'm going to try to get, because I picked this up because I've never seen this comic book ever in my life, The Greatest American Hero. You remember that? From the 80s, I guess. Believe it or not, I'm walking on something air. Anyhow, that was really, really bad. But it's made from Catastrophic Comics, and Stephen J. Cannell, Cannell, and I guess the company was Arcana. So, and they're still around. The Greatest American Hero, and it has the characters in it. And this was a number 2 of 3. So if I can find 1 and 3, I would be a happy man, because that's something from my childhood that I really, really liked, and I've never seen it in a comic book. So I think that would be interesting to have. And then a few notable other things that I picked up was X-Men Unlimited number 1, which I have 2 copies of that already. I don't know if I'm going to destroy one or not. And then when Spider-Man donned the black outfit, that was Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man number 22, back in black, and it's an awesome cover. And I always like the black, symbiote Spider-Man, but you know how that all turned out. And then a couple others that I wanted, especially anything that George Perez did with Wonder Woman is a big plus for me, because I think he kind of captured that whole Greek mythology, Amazon. He kind of captured it in his drawing. So if I ever get the opportunity to see George Perez at a con, I would love for him to sign something for me. And I do have the Wonder Woman. I scored this, which is something I'll never get rid of. 1988, $1.50. Wonder Woman Annual number 1. Right? What? I got that. So, great. 50 cents. 50 cents. I'm a big Wonder Woman fan. This is George Perez, Art Adams, Ross Andrew, Brian Bolin. I've seen that name. John Bolton, Jose Luis Garcia Lopez, and Kurt Swan. So that should be a good read when I get the opportunity to read it. And it's really collectible, and I'm happy to have it. So that's enough. We won't say anything else about comic books. I'm putting them all back in. I have a box that I use when I'm talking about it on a show. I pull them all out, and then as I'm going through what I'm talking about, I'll put them back in the box. So I'm not going to pull the box out anymore tonight. Thank you guys for listening. My name is David. It is Fanboy Weekly. We're going to take one more break, and then we're going to come back and talk about Rubik's Cube, the finales of Arrows, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and then my big news from Indy PopCon. We'll be right back.
Imagine a world where bullying isn't considered a normal part of childhood.
A world where I'm not afraid to go to school.
To speak out.
To be myself.
A world where I'm not afraid to be caught alone.
Come on, punk.
We have the power to stop the bullying. Speak out.
Speak up.
Educate.
Find out what to look for and how you can make a difference at bullying.org.
Bullying is not kids being kids.
It's not about good homes or bad homes.
It's not a normal part of growing up. I shouldn't be afraid to get on the school bus.
To turn on my computer.
Message. Or walk to my locker. Did you know that a bully will stop his or her behavior in 10 seconds when their peers speak up?
Use your voice.
Hey, leave him alone!
We have the power to stop bullying.
Find out more at bullying.org.
Bullying.org.
Where you're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
Where you're not alone.
And we're back. I don't even know what I said. I was eating. I had some sour cream potato chips that I wanted to eat, so I started eating them, so my mouth is kind of watery. Welcome back. It is the 5x5 Fanboy Weekly. I'm your host, David. And we're doing what we do every Sunday night here on Fanboy Weekly, talking to you guys about all my nerdy adventures, comic books, comic culture, pop culture, and all things of that nature. And I promise you I'm not saying anything else about comic books anymore. What I am going to talk about now is the season finales of Arrow and Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was on Tuesday, and then Arrow was on Wednesday. And I talked about this on Comic Book the other night, but both were absolutely phenomenal. If I were comparing the two shows being comic book shows, I would have to give Arrow a slight edge. I think I graded them. I gave Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I think an 8.5, and I would give Arrow a 9. Maybe even a 10. But both have been renewed. Arrow has been renewed for its third season, which is doing really, really good for the CW. And Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been renewed for a second season. And because the second half of the series done better than the first half, but I was steadfast. I knew it was going to get good. I loved the tie-ins. After Captain America: The Winter Soldier hit, and it tied into the television show, which has never been done, it just kind of just went from there. So they did tie up things in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. A few things. Nick Fury made his appear. Samuel L. Jackson made his appearance, and it wasn't a cameo. He was in it for like the last 20 minutes, and it was integral, and that's who I've decided. I'm going to Indy PopCon. We're going to talk about that a little bit later, but that's who I've decided to cosplay. So it's not going to be anything major. I'm going to get the eye patch. I'm going to do something with my backpack that's going to have S.H.I.E.L.D. on it. I'm going to have a black shirt that's going to have S.H.I.E.L.D. on it as well. It's going to be really simple and it's not going to be like a cosplay, like seriously, and making all this stuff. It's going to be like I'm paying homage to it, to Nick Fury, because I was like, when I seen him, I'm like, Samuel Jackson, but I'm not cutting my chin strap. I'm sorry, it's got to stay. I know he just has a goatee, but I'm keeping my chin strap. I'm not cutting it. I might, but no, I'm not cutting it. And I'm gonna have an eye patch, and I might do a little makeup to where he has the scars, and then have some I'm gonna have S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff on. So that's my plan. I think that stuff easily bought or easily made. If I do make something, I don't want to be cheesy. But so they tied up some things. Coulson finally knows, the rest of the team finally seen that Nick Fury isn't dead. Coulson was made the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. to rebuild. So next year, we're probably looking at him recruiting new S.H.I.E.L.D. members, as well as, the last scene we've seen, Raina, the girl in the flower dress, she goes to a guy in a chair with blood, I'm assuming, dripping off his hands, and that is Sky's father. Supposedly Sky is some type of mutant. They can't say mutant, though. They don't own the rights. Fox owns the rights to mutants. ABC doesn't, so they can't say it. So they'll probably say gifted or has gifts. Miracles have been used, so we'll see how that works out. Agent Ward, not that they weren't going to kill him. Fitz was hurt. We didn't see him for the last part of the show because Nick Fury said he was doing everything to save his life and he'll never be the same. So we don't know what that means. May and Coulson are back solid again. May, she finally got to kick Ward's ass. That was totally cool. What else was in the show? That was about it. It was really good. It was very, very exciting. And then Tuesday night, Arrow came on, and it just did everything to. This is why I gave Arrow the edge. You know how, and I said this the other night, you know how when we're reading our comic books, if it's like a JLA book or X-Men book, how you can read it and then the art, sometimes the artwork is so good you can use that image in your head and you can see it in your head what's going on, and because the mind is a wonderful thing, right? And so that's what it was for me. Watching Arrow was like a Green Arrow comic book honestly come to life. I don't think we've had a fight scene like this or on this kind of scale. They did big things in this season finale. Thea goes off with Malcolm Merlin. Roy, he kind of ascends to the mantle of the Red Hood with the mask. Sarah goes back to her girlfriend and she gives her canary jacket to Laurel, which is supposed to be the real canary, Black Canary. So you get kind of a changing of the guards there, and because her father says don't get any ideas, but of course if they stay with the DCU mythology, she will, hopefully, in seasons to come. What else? Although we find out that Amanda Waller had something to do with getting Oliver off the island, and so I guess the flashback scenes next year will be his time with Amanda Waller in Hong Kong, which I thought that was kind of interesting. That was a different twist, and so it was just good. It was just totally good. Comic book come to life. They did it right, but the big thing was for Tuesday night was with a 20 or 30 second teaser trailer for the Flash television show, which yesterday they released a 5-minute trailer, which again, and then Stephen Amell is going to be in the first episode, which is coming out in the fall, and it killed. I mean, DC, okay, you guys are doing good. The CW has been good for DC. Y'all need to give them some more money because they are keeping them in the live action game. The movies aren't doing anything. Although Man of Steel was okay, we don't know the future of Superman, Batman is still a couple years away. They are keeping you relevant. And then Gotham, I'm not sure, and I said this the other day, I'm gonna watch it, the first couple episodes, just to see what you're gonna do, but I don't think there's an interest to what these people were before they were. You know what I'm saying? So not interested in seeing that at all. What else? DCU, yeah, they're keeping them relevant, and so the Flash 5-minute trailer, if you've seen it, it's going to be a good show. Although there was a lot of people who knew his secret identity. I don't follow Flash in the comic book, so I don't know how many people know he is the Flash, but there is several people in this incarnation television show where he is going to, that they know his identity. It's kind of a flashback to, you remember the John Wesley Shipp Flash, which I absolutely loved, and he was at Star Labs, and the woman, the scientist, I forget her name, who ran Star Labs, she knew, and she kind of was his handler, so to speak, and she knew, and there was a track scene where that kind of made me think of that, and I heard that John Wesley Shipp was going to be in the new Flash in some aspect, so I don't know. So we will definitely see about that. So look for that coming back. All those coming back in the fall. Not much going on this summer. I know the Agent Carter has been ordered, but I guess that's not going to be into next year when Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. returns. If you don't know who that is, that was Captain America's girlfriend or love interest, or could be love interest in the very, very first Captain America, the first Avenger movie. Okay, so moving on. Got some really cool news today. My friends at the Thought Bubble podcast, Christine Lane, they were talking about they're going to Indy PopCon this year. And so I'm like, I start making plans. I'm like, okay, I want to go. So I'm doing Nick Fury. And I'm like, okay, so I made my plans. I can only go one day because of work constraints. I can only get off one day for that weekend, but I'm going. And Indianapolis is not that far from me. It's only like a 3-hour drive. And I have family there and stuff. So my plan, if everybody stays on my plan, if you listen to any other shows, I like to plan stuff out. I'm going to leave like at 5 o'clock in the morning because Indy is an hour ahead of me. So that gets me there at 8, which would be 9 their time. The con opens at 10. I want to stay to at least 5. We can leave at 6 or 7 and be home by 10. So that is my idea, but I have a lot of stuff to cram into the day because I got my press pass today. So if I can work out doing the 3 days, I'll go up there the 3 days. But right now, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to. But I got my press pass today, so because I am a podcaster, and I will be talking about Indy PopCon. I will give you a lot of stuff from Indy PopCon. We'll talk about it up until I go, and then I'll have video and hopefully some interviews, which I got to get in touch with some people at the organization to see how that all works out. If anybody has done it before and knows what's going on, please let me know how the rules and regulations, because there are some rules that you got to follow about getting interviews and talking to people and taking video footage and stuff like that. You have to get it approved, which I have no problem with that. But I have a lot to pack into one day because I want to get, Buffy season 10. Oh, here's a comic book. Buffy season 10 in the comic books episode 3 brings back Dracula, which Dracula controlled Xander Harris, aka Nicholas Brendan, in the show. So Nicholas Brendan is now writing on Buffy the Vampire comic book, and so I want him to sign my copies. I'm gonna get those, and so I tweeted that the other day, and so he retweeted me, which I thought that was really cool. So Nicholas Brandon, if you're listening, hopefully I will be able to see you, get a picture or two, and have you sign my copies of Buffy season 10, episode 3, on Saturday the 31st. But you know what? That's gonna be a problem, but I'm gonna work it out. I'm totally gonna work it out. What else? So got my press pass. That's my big news there. And lastly, it is the Rubik's Cube's anniversary. 40th anniversary of the Rubik's Cube. And I have a really quick Rubik's Cube story. When they first came out, my grandmother bought my sister and I one for Christmas. We had two for one for each of us. And I remember, because I've always thought I was really, really smart. And I always thought I was smarter than everybody. I didn't care. My sister's 3 years old. I didn't care, and so she was actually beating me and getting, I thought she cheated though. She was actually beating me on getting hers back to all the colors. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way, And so I take my Rubik's Cube and I launch it at her face. And it hits her in the eye. And her eyes wells up. She screams. She wanted to kill me because she beat me up every day of my life when I was young anyhow. She wanted to kill me, but she was in too much pain. And I remember getting one of the worst whoopings of my life because I attacked her with my Rubik's Cube. Wasn't I a mean fanboy, right? Anyhow, that was my Rubik's Cube story. But Google is celebrating the 40th birthday of the Rubik's Cube with an animated doodle that allows you to try to solve puzzles online. So if you have Google, you use Google as your search engine, sometimes they'll do stuff for like the holidays. Well, they have a big giant Rubik's Cube up under their search bar, I think, or above the search bar. And if you click on it, you're able to do the Rubik's Cube online. So this was kind of cool. The Rubik's Cube was invented in 1974 by Erno Rubik, a Hungarian architect who wanted a working model to help explain three-dimensional geometry. He fashioned the first cube himself, hand carving the cubelet. It took him 1 month before he was able to solve the cube for himself. It was licensed to the Ideal Toy Corporation in 1980, and since then it has sold more than 350,000 units, making it the biggest selling toy of all time. And they're out now. They're still around. I see them at the stores. They're even like different versions of them, right? Let's say biggest selling toy of all time and a retro favorite for anyone who is young in the 80s. The cube's six faces are made up of 9 stickered squares, with each row and each column being independently manipulable around a central pivot, meaning that squares can be moved to different positions on a 3D cube, with the aim of the puzzle being to return the cube to its original configuration with each face one color: red, blue, white, green, yellow, and orange. It's very hard. Speed cubers race each other to complete cubes in speeds as fast as 6 seconds. I mean, really? While every legally muddled cube is solvable in just 20 moves, there are in fact over 43 quintillion permutations of the cube. That is unique distributions of 54 colored squares over 6 faces. I was never ever able to get all mines. I don't know if I'm dumb or what, but I was never able to get mine. So, happy birthday to the Rubik's Cube. I know that went a little bit faster. Oh, I have some facts about the Rubik's Cube. 1 second, let's see. In 1982, the first world record was set for solving the Rubik's Cube. How long did it take Ronald Brinkman to solve the cube? 19 seconds. That was the first. Since then, the record has been reduced to 9 seconds. Let's see. How long did it take the inventor? I think I just said that 1 month before he didn't think it was actually able to get it back to all the regular colors, the solid colors on each side. 1974 was the creation date. How many individual pieces is the Rubik's Cube made of? 21. There are 8 corner cubes, 12 edge cubes, along with cross-shaped inner structure holding the 6 center faces. How many layers are in a Rubik's Cube? There's 3 layers. Which is not a color on the original Rubik's Cube? Purple. Who launched the Rubik's Cube in America with a Hollywood party May 5th, 1980? I did not know this. Zsa Zsa Gabor. Wasn't she the same chick that slapped the police and went to jail? I think so. There was a name that they was going to give the Rubik's Cube. It was going to be called the Gordian Knot. Rubik's Cube sounds a lot better. Let's see. Oh, there's not much left. Alright, that's it. I know you're tired of hearing me talk. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for hanging out. You can always catch us on any of our shows, any day of the week. You can listen to the archives on the 5x5.blogspot.com or the blurredhq.blogspot.com. Look forward for more updates about Indy PopCon. And we're going to take off. Guys, have a great night, and we'll see you next time.